What's up, everybody? The Accountant 2 hits theaters next week, and I've got a non-spoiler review for you guys so that you know what to expect without being spoiled. Let's dive in. I want to briefly touch on the story and more so how it's structured, but again, don't worry about spoilers. I'm going to redact this like the Kennedy files. This review is for those of you who may be on the fence about going to see this movie. The way they structured the story of this sequel here, I thought was brilliant. How they take you on the journey from Ray King to our new character, to Medina the federal agent, to the accountant, of course, and then to Braxton, which brings everything together. That's like the first 30 to 45 minutes, and then the movie takes off, but the setup is also incredibly entertaining. But the movie reaches its peak and holds that throughout the movie once Chris and Braxton, Affleck and Bernthal are together. That duo being at the forefront of this movie for most of the runtime was a game changer. Between their stuff with Medina, their moments in and on top of the RV, their bar side quest, and all the banter, it truly elevated this from the first movie. Then as far as our new character and the mystery of the movie is concerned, I thought it was decent. I mean, it led us to good places in the story, but I should have picked up on it, what they were doing with it, because it's pretty obvious and they tease it early. However, I think they were a bit conflicted on what to do with her because I didn't feel they wrapped her story up very efficiently. But with that being said, I'm going to move on to the action in this one, and it was great from the jump with J.K. Simmons getting his badass send off. Obviously, his death is a major part of the story, and that's not a spoiler, it's in the trailer, but I'm just glad they let him get his own punches in before his ticket was sealed. It was a great start to the movie. Then you have the bar fight later in the movie with the brothers, and that's part of the bar side quest I was talking about, and this was just hilarious. From the dancing with Chris, to Chris taunting the cowboy, to Braxton sprinting across tables, I've got no complaints. They also edited this one in a fascinating way, capping it off with the brothers celebrating the phone number. It rocked. However, the one scene that gave me pause was the second sniper scene in the movie, and you do see part of it in the trailer. I mean, he takes a couple shots through government windows, and maybe this is my fault, but I just kind of assumed all government buildings had bulletproof glass. I don't know. Maybe that's a foolish assumption on my part. Probably is, but it just took me out of the movie for the briefest second, but it did not ruin the movie or anything like that. It was just a quick, like, huh, I wonder why that didn't work. Regardless, that's the only complaint in this area, if you even want to call it a complaint, is we got an epic motorcycle scene in the movie too that wasn't exactly a fight, but Chris is just ripping through traffic. It's so cool. The fight it leads to too is okay in its physicality, but it held a lot of weight for the story for our new character, so that was cool. Then the final firefight down in Juarez was the ultimate payoff. Affleck and Bernthal were locked in for the final half hour, and like the accountant would want, the attention to detail is incredible. They focus so much on the little things in this fight, with slick reloads and the brotherly chemistry, crafting this perfect finale for the movie. Finally, I want to touch on the cast, which kept its core and shifted things around them. For me, John Bernthal stole the show, getting more screen time this time around, and his banter is just unmatched. His scenes with Medina were the funniest of the movie, and of course, his chemistry with Ben Affleck played a big part in him being so great. Which, speaking of Ben, he was great once again, staying steady with his performance in the first movie. But like I said, Bernthal being around more elevated both of them, as that duo could genuinely be the heart of a new franchise if they choose to keep making these movies, or if they want to make another movie together. I'm seated day one. Then you've got J.K. Simmons reprising his role of Ray King, who got the party going, and there wasn't a better vet to do so. I think they'd honestly done, all they could with him in the movies, and so I was just glad to see the legend get a worthy send off. But the next one here I'm a bit conflicted on because I liked her a lot in the first movie, but here it was more 50-50, and that's Cynthia Addai-Robinson. She thrived when she's with Affleck and Bernthal here, but I can't say the same for her stuff without them. It's not that she's bad, I don't think she brought the same oomph on her own, and she doesn't get much help in this movie either, where she had J.K. Simmons in the first movie in most of her scenes. Which, speaking of help, the group of kids at Harbor that have helped Wolf with his missions were incredible. It's just a fun group on the side, and their involvement was upgraded in a really cool way for this sequel, and that's all I'll say about it. But the one area of the cast where I was left rather unimpressed all around was the villains. Between our new character to those that she's going after and our brothers are going after too, I didn't find any of them to be threatening whatsoever. That was definitely in those performances for me too, because I thought they had rich opportunities in the story, they just didn't come through at all. However, that's another minor complaint, and really my only second minor complaint for this movie, which is all I have for it, is it was a very worthy sequel, and I think it was even better than the first one, as this is now my movie of the year. And so that's going to do it for my non-spoiler review of The Accountant 2. Drop any questions you guys have for the movie before you see it down in the comments below, smash that like button, and make sure you have a great day.